This conference will now be recorded.
Hello all, welcome back for another session on performance testing using NeoLoad, and this time we are looking at both HTTP and real browser protocol. Let's have a quick recap on what we had done in the previous sessions. In the previous session, we started discussing about a workflow. So what is a workflow? Workflow is just a series of user action that is called as a workflow. For example, these three user actions that is exerted on the page Wikipedia. Okay, so it's launch, search, testing, and then clicking on the link. All these are end user actions. So let's say I load Wikipedia. So I have launched. So this is the first user action. Then I'm searching for testing, second one, and then maybe clicking on the link is the final user action. So combination of multiple um, let's say multiple transactions or user actions is the workflow. So here user actions is going to be called as a transaction. Transaction is the keyword that is used in performance testing. Okay. A transaction can contain one or more requests, or let's say a group of requests that can be of belong to a one user action or a transaction. Yes, we also discussed about this client server architecture. It's a simple client server architecture. So client is the end user, server is the one that serves the web pages. So client sends a request and a server responds to the client. So whatever the client is sending is called as request, and the server response is called as response. So the entire performance testing is all about the play between these two, request and response. So how quickly, determining how quickly the response a end user is getting is all about performance testing, which is called as response time, right? So under this, there can be of various conditions, different objectives, and based on this, the user scenarios or the kind of performance test would change, would differ. Okay. Yes, response code. Before we get into it, I would like to show you installation of NeoLoad, how we can install NeoLoad. Okay, so let's explore that. So I'm going here, so you can see this, right? The version is 9.2. Okay, so let's see. So what you can do is you can go to Google and then search for support hub Tricentis. Go here, open this. Okay, so this is the web page. You will get it in the support hub Tricentis support-hub.tricentis.com. Left side, you can see this, right? There is a NeoLoad, Tricentis NeoLoad. Just click on this. It will take you to this Tricentis NeoLoad support hub page. Okay, and again you see this. There is a downloads. Click on this downloads. Okay, and you can see this, right? A lot of different kinds of different files are there. So based on the operating system that you're working with, let's say Mac OS or Unix. So I'm on Windows 64-bit architecture. So I just have to click on this. This will start downloading. I'll cancel this. I have already downloaded this file. Oh, sorry, I think I have downloaded the wrong one. It is supposed to be 64-bit one. Okay, so this may take some time. Okay, so based on your system's architecture, you have to download the right one. Okay, so it's not like 64 does not support 86 or 32-bit version. Just that with 64, there is a better memory management. Okay, so before installing a new version, so let's say we want to upgrade from this 9.2.0 to 9.2.1. So there is a right way, some best practices to do it. Okay, one of the practices is we have to uninstall the existing one. Okay, so I'm just going to this add or remove programs. So I can search the list. Okay, NeoLoad on this and uninstall it. Okay, so we have to make a clean uninstallation. Okay, don't worry, uninstalling will not delete your projects. The projects will be retained as it is. Okay, uh, any other settings that you have, maybe if you have some settings in the configuration or something that may be destroyed, or it may change. Okay, but projects perspective, everything will be retained. Okay, so there is also one more thing. So we have to deactivate any license that was activated. Okay, especially if it is an offline license. Okay, offline license, once we have activated it, uh, unless it is deactivated, it we cannot reactivate it. Okay, then again we have to reach out to the support engineering team present is. Okay, in case if that happens. So let me go ahead and uninstall and click on next. So it is uninstalling. This may take some time. Okay, it's done. It's finished. Let me check. Okay, when this has downloaded. Okay, so let me check once again. Okay, there is no NeoLoad. NeoLoad has been uninstalled. Let me go ahead and install. Okay, so there are few things that we have to look at while installing NeoLoad. Okay, if you have admin rights permissions to install by yourself, you can do so. Else you would probably need to reach out to IT support uh, team to get this done, or else you can request for elevated access. Okay, where only few proprietary recognized signed tools can be installed by yourself. Okay, select the language, English. Agree. Okay, so here if you see, there are three options. Okay, one is controller, load generator agent, and monitoring agent. Okay, so if you select controller, this has capability of all three: controller, LG, and monitoring. Okay, all three. If you want to use a machine just for load generating purpose, that is, the machine will not have any controller capabilities. So controller means, when I'm referring to controller capabilities, controller will uh, will control how the users are getting in, uh, getting into the system, getting out of the system, which transaction, that it controls the entire part. Okay, that is the work of controller. Okay, sometimes we would need one controller machine but multiple LG machines. Okay, LG will only generate load. That's the only purpose for LG. Okay, as you can see, there's a install the agent for simulating workload. Okay, that is the LG. Monitoring agent is to be installed on the servers. Okay, where you can create and set up monitors and connectors which will monitor uh, the server machine, and all those whatever the performance counters that we select can be added into the end report. Okay, that is the purpose of monitoring agent. So for now, I would like to select this controller. Usually this is recommended, even if you select this, it's of no issue, because all the capabilities will be coming into the one part. Okay, so controller is always recommended, but in case if you want to do only LG or only monitoring, you can do so. And here select all for both WAN emulation and terminal services. Real browser is another protocol. Again, I think we are also looking at it, so this has to be enabled. Okay, you can, this is optional in a way. If you want to enable it, you can enable it, else you can uncheck it, but I recommend you to enable all of them. Select the desired installation location. I'll keep it default. Go ahead and yes, install the controller and LG services as well. Okay, this will take some time. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, you can let me know.
Naveen, regarding the
Hmm?
9.2.
Hey, sorry, your voice, I could not hear you. It was breaking.
Yeah, so I was asking, it is recommended to use latest version, right? 9.2.
Yes, it
Okay.
is recommended to use always. But Varun, there are some unique circumstances where some versions will not. I would not say like it's like there will be some specific requirements. Okay, for some projects where NeoLoad, or before it is Neotest team will help in creating those necessary custom-made, I don't know, this DLL files and something like that, which is only applicable for your particular project, and that will work only for that particular version. Okay, so if you have such kind of setup, then it is best for you to, I mean, some projects they will never upgrade their version. Some of them are still using version 7.10, which is which came like at least 1.5 2 years back. The reason is the compatibility, right? Due to certain compatibility uh, limitations, they will continue to use the same version, but in general, the latest version, latest stable version is always recommended.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's almost done. Okay, so I'd like to click on this, run NeoLoad. So there is also one more thing. So when we are upgrading from one version to another version, uh, what happens? The project that we have created that gets migrated to the latest version. Okay. Once the migration happens to the latest version, we won't be able to migrate it to the previous version. See, for example, this time we are having 9.2.1. Let me try opening. Not sure whether if this is going to ask the question. Okay, so this is not. So NeoLoad is not asking anything like whether to migrate it or not. But generally, if we are upgrading from, let's say, from 8 to 9, okay, that's a huge update. Okay, so when that happens, NeoLoad will give us some prompt asking like whether would you like to migrate it. You can migrate it. Once the migration is done, we uh, we we can no longer open the same project with the older versions. Okay, that is not you, from then onwards we can only upgrade it. The migration can only happen only in the latest versions. It will not happen in the previous versions. Okay, so sometimes, as I said, right, like when you are seeing some limitations, you can take a backup of the project. Okay, so how you can take a backup? You can go to the project location. Okay, so let me, so where is this located? It's located in NeoLoad projects documents. Okay, so I'm opening that. Okay, so I have come up to this. Okay, so you can see there's a lot of projects. You see this, right? This is the project that we are interested in. So how we can take a backup? You can just simply right click, send it to a zip, and then take a backup. Can append any date or suffix it or prefix it. Can keep it to separately. Okay, and then in case if something goes wrong after the migration, if some, maybe some calls will not work or something happens, you can always use the your backup to uh, save, revert it back. Okay,
So in the beginning only we need to change the version, right? If we want that version before installation.
before installation, sorry.
So if we want a particular version, says I don't want 9.2, I want our project requirements says that we need to install 7.2. So in that case, in the
Okay,
beginning only we need to before installation we need to change it to 7.2, right? And after that.
correct, 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 yes. uh, Before itself you have to do it, right?
Okay.
Okay, so let's proceed, let's continue. Okay, uh, okay, so next topic, response code. Okay, let's explore response code. So response code, or also called as HTTP status code. Okay, these codes are issued by the server in response to the client's request. Okay, so the response code comes in different series. Okay, so 100 series means it's informational. 200 series means it's success. 300 series is redirection. 400 is client side error, and 500 is server side error. Okay, this is the different series has different meaning, and even there are further subcategories of these series. Okay, let's look at it. Okay, so I have just opened this link. Okay, I will also provide this link in the chat box. You can also uh, check this later. Okay, so let me walk you through some of them. Okay, so let's go to informational. Okay, so informational, this is not very common. We will not see this informational series much. Okay, uh, hardly or highly unlikely you will come across this. Okay, so 100 means it's continue. It's just like a simple giving some information. That's all. Let's look at 200. 200 means its request is succeeded. 200 okay. Okay, it's a successful one. 201 is a record is created. Okay, 202 is accepted. Like that, like this, there are many other subcategories, or let's say response code. Some of them are not very common. Okay, I will only touch on something that is very common. Okay, redirection. Redirection is like a call forwarding. Okay, that is, it is going from one to another. uh, right, like how we set up some call forwarding in case if we are going on a vacation, or let's say some will have call forwarding facility on by default, turned on by default. In case if their phone is switched off, it gets forwarded to somebody else, maybe an assistant or somebody. Okay, so from that perspective, this is like redirection. So it is going moving from one to another. 300 means it's multiple choices. That is, there are more than one responses. Okay, it can be of bifurcated or trifurcated. It depends on the kind of request. Moved permanently, which is we are hitting on one link, and that server is redirecting to a different server. That is all it means. Others are not very common. 307 temporary redirect and permanent redirect, both are very similar. Okay, temporary redirect works on, like as the name suggests, right, it is going to redirect to a temporary URI. Okay, it's a different source. Permanent redirect is kind of a similar to 301, where it has come permanently redirected. Okay, client error response 400 series, this is kind of important for us. Okay, any issue that any response code that we see from the 400 series, that means something about the request is wrong. Okay, the way how the request is getting is sending to the server, there is some issue with this. Okay, that is why we get this 400 series issue. Okay, 400 bad request means it has a semantic issue. It's, as you can see there, right, it's a malformed request. Okay, so I think before we discuss about this, I should let you know about the request. Anyway, let's continue. Okay, just a moment. Okay, so 400 means bad request. That means it's a malformed request. Something is wrong with the request. Okay, that we have to identify why it is throwing a bad request. 401 unauthorized. This is another common issue that we face. 401 unauthorized. This means some dynamic value is not being handled properly. Okay, so that means the user is not at all authorized to access the system. Okay, it's an authentication issue. 403 forbidden. 403 forbidden is distinctly different from 401 unauthorized. Okay, 403 forbidden means, so let's say I will give you an example. Let's say two different user roles. One is a manager, another is a normal employee. Okay, a manager can see employees' attendance. Let's assume that way. But an employee cannot see others' attendance because the employee does not have the required permission to look at it. Okay, let's assume somehow the employee has gotten a direct link which he can access the attendance. If he tries to access, the system is going to throw 403 forbidden. Although that link is correct, that data is available, but that particular user is not uh, having the necessary permission to necessary grant to access that particular data. So that is the 403 forbidden. Okay, 404 not found means it's there is no such thing existing, right? This is another common thing that we face, we see. Maybe we are accessing some page, but that page itself is not available. So that is 404. Okay, 405 method not allowed. So this is on, usually we will see this in APIs and other XHR calls. This happens when the server is not allowing to trigger some methods. Here method is referred to the HTTP method. Okay, so what are this HTTP method? Those get, put, post, get, post, put, delete, option, trace, many other methods are there. Okay, so it is referring to that. Okay, so that's 405. 406, as it says, it is not acceptable. Okay, and 407, this is also similar to authentication issue. Okay, but here the authentication is on the proxy level. That is, if you want to access some so let's say due to certain compliance. Okay, the mostly this is, you can find it in banking, finance, healthcare, pharmaceuticals industries. You will find such compliance floating around. That is, you would need to have some kind of proxy network to be in to access the environment or access the application. Okay, if this is not set up, we will get this 407 issue. Okay, it's very similar to 401, but the authentication is on a different level. 401, the authentication is failed on the due to the dynamic handling the dynamic values due to that issue. 401, 407 is on the proxy. Okay, 408 request timeout. So request timeout is about a response which is sitting idle. That is, a client has sent a request, but there is no proper response. The response, it is, the server is still processing the request and it is not providing a response, and for a stipulated amount of time. This time varies. This time varies anywhere between 180 seconds to 300 seconds. Before it was 300 seconds, which is 5 minutes. Now it has been reduced to 180 seconds, which is 3 minutes. So if a request does not get a response even after 3 minutes or 5 minutes, we will get this request timeout. Okay, others are not very common. 413 payload too large. This we will find it in API calls, especially with RESTful protocol. When the request has a lot of data, right, sometimes we will get this, and this is due to the infra limitation. Okay, and what others are not very common. 422 unprocessable content. 422 happens when there is a when there are like application based dependencies. Okay, So for example, let's take a real time example. Let's say like I'm booking a bus ticket. Okay, let's say I'm in the process of paying the ticket. Let's say I have blocked one of the seat, and I'm still in the process of paying the uh, money. Okay, so in the meantime, what happens, this ticket will be blocked. Okay, this ticket will be blocked by the system. It will not allow other users to book the same ticket. This same thing is applicable to any movie theater, anything. Okay, until the payment is completely uh, executed, this will be blocked. In case if the payment is goes failure, okay, or if the user decides to cancel the payment after some time, after like let's say like 20-30 minutes, the ticket gets released. Okay, it will not be blocked. Okay, uh, in a similar situation, what happens sometimes when we do the execution or due to such dependency, let's say something is has logged some record, and if a different user is trying to access the record or try to modify the record, what happens, we will get this unprocessable content or entity. Okay, so 423 is also very similar to it. uh, it is just saying it is kind of a, it goes in a deadlocked state. Okay, 429, too many requests, that is the system is limiting the number of requests that that system will take. Okay, and others are not very common. Okay, so let's look at server error responses. Server error response is on the server side. Okay, 500 internal server error, very common one. This means the server is does not know how to handle the situation. So let's say we are sending something, okay, that the server is not expected. So that time we will get this internal server error. Bad gateway, it's another common one. 502 bad gateway. 503 service unavailable means the server can no longer provide or serve the clients, or in another word, the server is overloaded. Okay, HTTP version not supported. There are different HTTP versions, so that is a possibility, and others are not very common. Okay, any questions on this?
No, no, no.
Okay, fine. Let me proceed. Okay, so let's look at this. Since we are talking about both request and response, let's look at the request components. Okay, request components, there are four components, okay, as a part of request. You can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Please confirm. Okay, fine. Wonderful. So HTTP method, this is the method: get, post, delete, put, trace, option, and there are different methods. Okay, this is the first component of a request component. Then URL, which is the application URL or the endpoint URL. Okay, then headers, which is the list of header attributes, header files. Okay, and then finally it is the body. The body can be optional. Body is not a mandatory, can be optional. Similarly, like how we have request components, there are response components. The first component is the response code, which we just saw. that is has different series, and even response will have certain headers and then the body. Okay. Okay, let's proceed. So let's look at the just a moment. So I'm just bringing up the Google Chrome developer tool. Okay, so let's say I type google.com. Okay, so let's look at the first one. Okay, it says google.com. The status is 200. This is the response code what we just saw. I'm clicking on this and I'm going to headers. Okay, you can see the other components. So all these are like general is common to both in a way. Okay, request URL, which is the endpoint URL. Okay, google.com. uh, Request method. Okay, uh, which is the, you can see this, right, get method. And then there is a status code, which is the response code. Okay, and you see this, right, below you can see a response headers. Okay, and then the request headers. Okay, request headers, response headers. Okay, this may look little odd by looking at it, but let's look at here with this example. Okay, again bringing up the Chrome developer tool. Okay, I'm looking at the first one. Okay, you can see this, right, request headers, response headers. These are the, let's say, content length and some information are there in the response headers and something on the request headers, and this is the body of the response. Okay, so what I can do, I will show you the complete request. So this is how a request will look like. Okay, it has a method followed by a URL and then the series of header attributes. So body is optional, it is not mandatory for every request. Okay, but if the first three something is missing, let's say a mandatory header is not there, then it means an incomplete request. Because of these we will get this 400, all this issue. Same thing with the response, recorded response, how it is. So it starts with this 200, which is the uh, res- response code, followed by series of header attributes, the same thing, right, what we saw, content length and content type and other information, and then below followed by the body. Okay, same, get it right.
So,
So this is
Naveen,
the
one
uh,
question. So, in the request, right? So
uh,
there may be case like it won't have anything. I mean, body won't be there in some cases, right?
in request, yes, in request there won't be any, I mean that's what body is optional for
Hmm.
request. Even for response, right, sometimes we will not get any body.
Okay.
Okay, but
So in
a
that
valid
case,
request. Mhm. Yes.
yeah, in that case, how do we handle the dynamic values? If some dynamic value doesn't have request body in the request, or it doesn't have both body, response body, and request body.
uh, See, when you will find there is no body with the response. See, let me complete this. Let me come to a logical
Okay.
conclusion, and then
Okay.
I will answer your question. Okay, fine. So let's look at this example. Okay, so I'm just once again refreshing it. Okay, so we are seeing all this 200. 200 means it is a successful, right? Okay, it is denoting it's a succeeded. The request has succeeded. Okay, let me go to a different web page. Okay, fp.com. I think it is taking some time. So finally it has loaded. Okay, if you see this, right, the first fb.com, when I hit, it is returning with 301. Okay, let's look at this. Okay, so first request URL is fb.com. This is saying, okay, 301 moved permanently. That means this fb.com is is getting forwarded to a this one. Okay, so I'm clicking on this one. Now what happened again, it is saying like 301. Okay, so that means again it is getting redirected. So from from this link to it got redirected, and again from this link to it got redirected. Now we are seeing 200. Okay, you see that, right? There are multiple redirections. Okay, so in the first redirection it was just http fb.com. It got redirected to https fb.com, which is a secured link, and then the fb.com, right? This is not a valid URL, but however this is owned by Facebook. So it got now moved from fb.com to the complete address, which is facebook.com. Now this is a valid one. We got the 200 as the response code. Okay, so this is the redirection. Okay, so whenever redirection happens, you see this, right? There is no body. Same thing with the request also. You will not see any body, most likely. Okay, so whenever such a redirection happens, there won't be any body, and even with that there won't be any correlation to handle. Okay, fine. So this is the 300 series. Let's say I will
So,
I
so
will search.
Naveen,
Uh-huh.
in that case, right, there will be no correlation to handle. So in that case, we need to disable that request.
No, not necessarily. You're See, it's like this. Okay, think of this way. uh,
Because why I'm asking is, see, let's say like if a request doesn't have any body or and also response doesn't have any body, but still it is throwing error after running the user path.
See,
So
it's
we
that's what
need to
I'm
handle
saying.
that.
You have to first determine whether is it a redirection. Okay, think of this
Mhm.
way. Okay, let's say I only have your mobile number. Okay, let's say Varun's mobile, or let's say it's a office number. Okay, I still don't know about your personal number. Let's assume that way. Okay, but you have turned on redirection to your personal mobile. Let's say this personal mobile also is redirecting to uh, maybe some other phone. Let's assume that way. Okay, a user is trying to reach out to you through this office, but for some unforeseen circumstances this is not available, so it is getting redirected to this one. Even this is not available, and then finally it is getting to redirected to this one, right? Okay, so in this case, if you see, it is the origin is this. Okay, but the destination is somehow is this one. What you are asking is, can I disable these two? You cannot. It is not possible, because this is this is where it is getting started, and it is moving from one to another, and then it is reaching to the final one. See, some requests are intertwined by nature. That is, the nature itself is like this. Okay, it will go through multiple redirections, and then it will reach the final link. So in that case you cannot disable it. You have to retain those, and then work with it. See, for example, I will show you this. Okay, okay, still that is, we haven't reached that part yet, but once Once we get into it, I will show you like how two requests are uh, bound bound with each other. Okay, in that case, you cannot disable it. Okay, make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, fine. So we saw example of, again, I will open this. So 301. Also notice this 301 is in amber color. Okay, 200 is in green color. Now let's say I'm going to search something, or let's say I'll go to this only. Okay, let's assume like I am searching something, okay, a random value. Let's say I'm searching NeoLoad. I'm launching a NeoLoad page from this application. You see this, right? What happened? What it says? 404. 404 means it's not found. There is no such page available. There is no such, there's no this kind of pages available, and it is in red color. See this, right? Any errors will be displayed in red color. So this is 400 series. Like 400, there are many other, and it is very important for us to equip ourselves into 400 series. Okay, let's say I'm creating a new uh, user. Okay, I'm just keeping all the same, something like this. Let's say I am not providing anything here and then simply clicking on save. Okay, I'm not sure whether if the devs have purposely left it uh, so that we encounter this issue. So this is the issue of exception. You see this, right? The message unhandled exception. Generally application should have all these exception handled. Okay, I think we must have come across different kinds of exceptions, right? There is memory out of bound exception, there is arithmetic exception, different kinds of exceptions. Okay, here there is some kind of exception happened, and because of this exception, server is unable to handle, is does not know how to handle this. So that's why it has thrown a 500 status. That is, the server is simply is unable to handle it. So what was the exception? What was the issue here? See, it has gone into the code, right? Generally we should not, I mean, we should not see these codes. Okay, as you can see this, right? So it is trying, there is an SQL command which is trying to insert into the database directly. Okay, because I have not provided some value in some of the fields. What happened? A null value has is trying to, I mean, is tried to pass, and database also have some kind of limit, like let's say like policies, right? You cannot send a null value, okay, to create a record. So that is an error, and because of we are trying to enforcing it, it is has gone into error. Okay, so that is the 500. You can see 500 also is displayed in red because this is an error. Okay, so this is the different examples, okay, that a live example that I have shown you how 200, you can see it for a succeeded one, you will see 200. Or redirections, that is, I have just showed you fb.com as an example. For 400, which is not found, 404 not found. If you are trying to search something that is not available or not applicable for that particular application, you will get into this 404. There are many other 400 series which is highly important for us, which will help us in creating a good script. Okay, and also helps us in debugging. If at all if there are any issues, it will help us in debugging the script. Okay, and finally it is the 500 series, which is the errors. Okay, Any questions on this?
No.
That's code?
No.
No? Okay. Wonderful. So workflow types we will continue from the upcoming session. Okay. So I would like to wrap up it. Okay. Okay. If there are no further clarifications, I think we can wrap up today's session. I'll see you
One,
tomorrow.
one,
Yeah.
just one thing,
Yes.
regarding the application which you are showing for demo, like that Jeep
Uh-huh.
pet store,
Mm-hmm.
Jeep pet store.
Yes. Yeah.
So can you demo some other applications which has more number of dynamic values, and so that I will come to know how to handle those dynamic values. Because I know
Ye-
Gpet store because it doesn't have much dynamic values. Uh,
Do you
why I'm
have any
saying
suggestion
for which one?
for application? Because what happens is, see, I can show you some other application and do it. Okay, but there are
Mhm.
like copyright things. Okay,
Okay.
so only, and another thing is demo application is best fit when you are learning something. Okay, but however, for that's the limitation, right? uh,
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
there is
because
copyrights, there is compliance, and there are many other things that are associated with that. Yes, yes. I see. What I can help you is when you are
Mhm.
working in any real-time application. Okay, I agree that this is, see, the demo application is purposely created so that we will learn the concepts. Okay, if you are bombarded with a lot of values, and most likely for especially who are starting new, right, they will get lost. They will not sure, right? They will often left in ambiguity state. They don't know what to do with so many values. Okay, so the idea, the focus here is to learn the tool, understand the concepts, and then work with the real time application. You get it, right? So it's like, it's kind of a practice. Best option what we can do is, we can get onto any Zoom call or any call, and we can work on directly on your application. Yeah, I'll make you a
Mhm.
presenter and you can see. Then I can at least show you what all the things that you have to look for. So may I know which domain that you are working with?
uh, the application technology you were saying.
No, the domain is like banking, finance,
Domain, yeah,
insurance.
domain. It's the event management. So Cisco is our client. Okay.
Okay,
Uh,
okay.
so they have a number of event management applications. So they have quarterly events. So one such event is Cisco Impact, which is
Mm-hmm.
started now in the April. So for that, there is an application Cisco Impact UI FY24. So there, that is the application. So the deliverables haven't yet started. Like it may start in another week. So,
Okay,
but
okay.
they asked me to do some hands-on, so that I will come
Uh,
to know what and all things. I have completed some round of online trainings and all, online tutorials and all, and then I'm
mm,
trying to do hands-on. So while trying to do hands-on, right, I'm I'm facing some challenges and I'm not able to proceed. Like
mm,
once I record the application, then I run the user path, right? In the user path, there are a number of errors. Okay, errors means around 10 to 10, 8 to 10 errors are there. But I am not
mm.
able to handle and I am not able to resolve a single error. I need
What
to
kind of
pour in
error
a
you are getting?
400 error, 401 error,
See,
400 error
400,
mostly.
400 means it's a malformed request. 400, most likely it is associated with the correlation only. 400,
Mhm.
401. it's kind of that.
Yeah,
And
and
make
four
sure
not
you do
three
not
errors.
disable uh, the the redirected requests. Even that also sometimes uh, create an issue for you.
Hmm. And four not
Yes.
three error as well. So what I try to correlate this
403.
by,
Okay.
yeah, 403. All these errors I try to correlate, uh,
Hmm.
but after correlation, once the correlation is done, when I run the user path, right, it is again showing the same error. It's not resolving. That's the main issue. I'm not able. I'm facing. I'm not able to proceed further because of this issue.
Oh, is it? Okay.
So
Interesting.
what I found while digging more into that, it needs to be handled in a more different way. So that
Hmm.
I really don't know how to. I don't know how to handle in different way.
Mm, understood.
Yeah.
Sure, no worries. Just follow the sessions. In
Yes.
2 weeks' time, you will have a clear idea like how to approach, how to create the scripts, uh, HTTP scripts, and how you can execute the tests. You will in two
Mhm.
weeks' time, you will most likely will learn all this part. But then, yeah. Meanwhile, parallelly, you can also uh, practice it on your own. Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah. Thank
okay.
you, Naveen.
Fine then. Yeah, fine.
Thank you.
See you
Thank you. Yeah.
next session. Bye.